Grey Tide Studios have very kindly sponsored a video, and they would like me to share with you their awesome new Kickstarter, the Crimson Lords, which is a selection of upgrade parts allowing you to Blood Angelify some of your awesome Space Marine bits and pieces. I particularly wanted to do a Dreadnought, and they are more than happy to accommodate that. So that's what I've done for today's video, which is this beast here. It's actually already fully finished, and I'm super pleased with the final result. It's awesome. So happy with it. Now, obviously, this is a paid promotion, so you're wondering why I should listen to you or how I can trust your opinion. Well, these are my Black Templars Dreadnoughts done with the same company, Mr. Grey Tide Studios, and I backed their original Kickstarter for their Black Templars and Dark Angels parts and did them for my own personal stuff. So before these guys ever reached out and got in contact with me, I was already using their parts. So hopefully that, guys, puts your mind to rest. So I'm very excited in this video to show you how those bits and pieces work, what the Dreadnought looks like, and how to paint it up in a very nice tabletop standard that anyone can achieve. Before I get into it though, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone out there that is supporting me in the myriad of different ways it is possible to support me, i.e. watching videos, liking videos, commenting on videos, making sure that you're subscribed. If you are extra special and awesome, you have become a channel member, or if you're even awesomer again, check out the Patreon link below. Both those last two will get access to an extra video every single week. You guys are the ones that keep this channel rolling, so thank you guys so much. Think about checking it out yourself, linked below. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and show you how I got this Dreadnought done. Okay, so this is the Dreadnought all built and ready to go. I've already sprayed it black and then sprayed it with a dusting of lead belcher. It's my preferred starting point for most Dreadnoughts, as it gives the under chassis a nice coat of silver already. It means you can build up all the flat colors straight away and then shade the whole thing. And it's just a much easier way of doing it. Here are all of the awesome parts from Grey Tide Studios already built onto the Dreadnought. So you get a pair of extra shoulder pads. You get a pair of extra, I don't know, front armor pieces, and then the center armor piece as well gets changed over. He has his nice tassely bits in the middle and his shin guards. So it does just change the entire kind of profile of this Dreadnought. I absolutely love it. It's just so cool. This is my 11th Redemptor Dreadnought that I'm doing now. So I'm already a little biased with Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I think they're just the coolest thing. And I love the idea of being able to convert and, you know, change. And like, I don't have 11 Dreadnoughts that look the same because of parts like this. Now, I've already done Black Templars and now I'm doing Blood Angels. I'm very tempted to do a Space Wolf one from Grey Tide Studios at some point soon. Just for fun. I don't actually have an active Space Wolf army, but I think I really want to see what it looks like. The upgrade parts for their Dreadnought look so cool. Okay, first things first, we're going to jump in and we're going to base coat all of the armor panels and all of the sections that are going to be highlighted and layered in gold with a coat of Blood Angels red contrast. Now, these steps are just base coats. We will be building up those colors later on. They just act as a fantastic base coat. Red being a fantastic base coat for gold, and red also, of course, being a nice base coat for brighter red. Yeah, so as you can see, the thing is in parts. The arms are, of course, removable, and the shoulder pads are removable from the arms. And then we'll just be painting those up a little bit separately just to make it easier for me. So once all of the red is in place, we're going to jump over to Agaros Dunes. And this is going to be a base coat for those awesome winged fronts. Now, you could go a whole host of different ways with the wings on the front of this thing. You could keep them in red and just have them as kind of reddish wings to match in with the armor panels. It's just like a raised design. You do them in gold to be real ostentatious. I, for one, am going to be painting them up like bone, like wing colors, like the Sanguinius's feathers kind of colors. Just to stand out and be really stark and really different on the battlefield. When you see this guy stomping forward, there's going to be no doubt in your mind that it is a awesome Blood Angels Dreadnought. I'm going to be doing all the same steps on the wings and the tabard in between his legs. This will, of course, keep that kind of triad of color together, and it's going to be very simple. Black Templar was then used for the tassely bits. And then, of course, there's lots of other bits and pieces you can always find that you need to fill in with Black Templar when you're painting pretty much anything. So all the soft seals between joints, any cabling, any bits like that. And for Blood Angels, weapon casings tend to go black. So I'm going to do the extra missile pods that are on his chest, the armored kind of covers of his fingers. There's parts on his plasma rifle thing. I don't know what the plasma gun on top of a Dreadnought's called. But anyway, that and any other bits and pieces. A missile pod on his between his shoulder blades is going to get it as well. And it's just a couple of extra bits and pieces. And it's, once again, it's kind of up to you which bits you want to do in black and which ones you want to leave normal. It's up to you. What do you want to do? Break up your model the way you want to. Retributor Armor Gold was then brought in for, of course, the most tedious part of painting this miniature. I say tedious like it's a bad thing. I enjoy layering up models and kind of getting all the trim nice and neat. You can really see a model come together with it. So, although it is time consuming, it's quite enjoyable. So you just got to go around and find all of the trim across this model and get it done in this Retributor Armor Gold. Like I said, this is the most time consuming part of doing this model. So just, you know, take a breath. Just note to yourself that this might take 20-25 minutes just to get the base coats on. And as you can see, the gold goes over the red really, really nice. It gives a nice warm starting point, which we're going to be shading down and layering up anyway, but it's nice to know you don't have to do kind of coat after coat after coat of gold to build up that color. Of course, those other parts that we're not showing, we're going to be focusing the painting mostly on the center body of the model. But all the techniques will, of course, transfer across and do exactly the same thing as you're going with the shoulder pads and arms and weapons and all those other bits and pieces that you may choose to leave separate for painting purposes. And here is how he currently looks. I've also thrown a little bit of Sigvald Burgundy over the Purity Seal wax parts on the top left of the model there. I just don't think it's important to show them off all that much. I've shown painting Purity Seals in about 1 million videos. And then, of course, we are adding Nuln Oil to the entire piece. Every single part of this model is going to get a coat of Nuln Oil. It's going to protect the contrast a little bit, but it's also going to shade everything down really, really nice. It's a very quick, easy, and effective step. You may think it might look too dark. Just trust the process. The new shades, you know, when they switched over to the 18mm pots over the 24mm pots, everything got a lot thinner. It doesn't nearly like stain and cover as much as it used to, so it does just work as this great shade paint. So yeah, trust the process and just go with it. I've added some, what is this called again? The red Martian-y color from AK Interactive. It's just so good. It's what I use for all of my Martian scheme bases. Firelands is what it's called. Firelands from AK Interactive is the texture paste I'm currently applying all over his base. Now, when the shade and the base material is dry, we will be left with a Dreadnought that looks like this, which I think is a really nice, solid place to begin layering. I think the model already looks fantastic, and you know exactly where all the colors are supposed to go. You can see like the final vision of the piece, and all we need to do now is make everything pop a little bit more and make it brighter. One of those things that I've often thought about when making videos and stuff, and I'm wondering about like what you guys think about this as well. So obviously, me and a bunch of other people from got asked by Great Side Studios to make videos, and some of the other content made by people doing the stuff for Great Side Studios is incredible. Like the art is just insane quality. And I'm wondering, does that inspire you or does that intimidate you? Does that push more people away or does that draw people in? Because obviously when I'm doing stuff, I really like to do stuff that people feel like they can achieve. And I feel like if somebody watches this video and they're like, there's no step that guy did that I can't do as well, I'm going to get one of these Dreadnoughts and these parts, and it's going to inspire them to get the pieces and do it themselves. Whereas some of the other stuff I've seen online, you know, even like Games Workshop box art and stuff can be super intimidating. It's like, I can't do that. Like, it's just, why bother buying it? I don't know. I like the more wholesome content. Hopefully you guys too. Obviously I'm not a Golden Demon level painter or competition painter. I just help people get miniatures painted on the tabletop and get some games played. That's the goal. Alleviate the fear and get people picking up a brush. Because you don't have to be a perfectionist to have a nice model at the end of the day. Okay, the first coat of red I'm using to highlight the Dreadnought is Mephiston Red. And as you can see, I'm very carefully going over all the armor panels and giving them a nice layer job here. This is another one that will take a little bit of time. Some select parts of this will require 2 coats. Big flat surfaces, and if the previous color is showing through in kind of a blotchy fashion, then you want to do a second coat. But it's okay to leave it just a little bit streaky because, like I said, it's not the final color red that we're going to be doing for this beast. We're following pretty much the same red recipe I did for my Blood Angels Infantry the other day, except obviously we're not using the green shade over it. We've done the black, and that's because all the metallic parts on this require just a little bit of black. Okay, after the first coat of red, it's already jumping up off, I was going to say off the page, it's not on a page. But the color is obviously jumping off the model a little bit more now. We're pushing it more towards the look of a Blood Angels, whereas previously it was very flesh teary. Hard for me not to just stop painting there. But anyway, so now we're going to jump up to the brighter red, and that is of course Evil's Son's Scarlet, and we are going to layer it up again. Obviously this is going to be a lighter layer job. We're not trying to get as much coverage as the previous color. This is the highlight, so we want to be staying away from the edges a little bit more. Leave that nice shadowed and shaded darks in all the recesses. And yeah, just take your time, enjoy it. Some sections, like I said, will still require 2 coats, like big flat areas, bits on the thighs there, for instance. And a lot of the lower sarcophagus parts might need a little bit of extra help, but just enjoy it. Like I said, if you're painting up a piece like this for your Blood Angels army, you have to understand that this is definitely going to be one of those piece of your army. You know what I mean? Like when people walk up to you and you're playing a game on a table, if you have a Dreadnought like this on the table, everybody's going to be scooping down and having a look at it. They're going to want to see what the hell is going on with this Dreadnought. Why does it look so cool? And they're going to be asking you questions about it. So when you have a piece like that, which like I said is a piece that draws the attention, I think you need to put in that little bit more effort, try and make it look as awesome as possible. Like your infantry, if you got 50 Marines on the table, ain't nobody picking up even one of those Marines to have a look. They'll look down and they'll say, oh, that's a cool Blood Angels army. But they're not going to be like scooping down and picking up a model and looking at how well you highlighted his boots. They don't care. Centerpiece pieces, you know, if you have the Sanguinor on the table, they're going to be looking at him. But the Dreadnought like this, that's definitely going to draw attention. With the red all done, the model is starting to look really goddamn cool. Very pleased with the results so far. But we still have some work to do. What are we going to do next? We're going to grab some lead belcher and we're going to give the entire model a light dry brush. This may seem a little bit insane, but like I said before in a bunch of my other Dreadnought videos, at this stage, tank videos as well, these are walking tanks. Just like when a player walks up to the table and it grabs their attention, the enemy will of course have their attention drawn to this walking cathedral, stomping through buildings and unleashing firepower before it gets into close combat to rip them to pieces. They're going to be afraid of it, which means they're going to be firing a lot of ammunition at it. It's like I said, it's going to be crashing through buildings. So chipped and weathered armor, I think, looks better on this thing. And a light dry brush of silver, as you can see, it just catches the edges, catches rivets, and just adds that little bit of scratch damage to it, which I think makes it look way more natural. Now, back onto the wings. We have Morghast bone, and we're starting up the first layer job on all of the wings. On all the feathers, sorry. And then of course the tabard between his legs as well. This may seem like a super tedious stage, but it's actually not. It does not take a long period of time to get this thing painted up. So just take your time, nice fine pointed brush, and just get it layered up. I'm going to go through Morghast bone and then up to Wraith bone as a second highlight for that. I don't like going up into like the pure white. I find that to be like too kind of gaudy or too, like it draws your attention too much. Like I don't think I've ever really put white on any model. I prefer just off whites or grays or bones. Like my entire Black Templars army. Not a lot of people will notice when they look at my Black Templars army, but their shoulder pads are all like bone color. They're not white and they look awesome that way. Here I am going in with the second highlight on all those feathers. And as you can see, it's already making a huge difference to the piece, drawing your attention right into the center of the model. Have you guys tried any of the Great Tide Studios parts out before? Or is this the first time seeing them? Or yeah, there is a bunch of options for having it printed for you. If you do not have access to a 3D printer and you still want those parts, that is of course a possibility as well. So don't just think because I do not have a 3D printer I can't get involved, I can't get these parts. That is not the case. And we will link the information below to help you get your hands on those parts. Corvus back to come in and layer up all of the weapon sections. To be brutally honest with you, this layering of the black should have been done before I dry brushed the silver. That's my bad. I kind of forgot to do it until now. So yeah, sorry. This probably should have been done a couple stages ago. Just remember that when you're finished layering up the red, that's when you probably should have layered the black bits as well. Just because those weapon bits are going to be kind of chipped and bashed and stuff as well. Same time as all the red armor. Obviously, there is enough attention being stolen away from the rest of the Dreadnought with all of the color. So I wanted to keep those tassels a nice muted color. So I just went for black leather. You could have done them like a leather, like a brown, but I just would have brought brown into the mix, and I don't think it was needed. After that, I'm just going to be, not lazy, I don't think lazy is the right word, but I just grabbed some Blood Angels Red Contrast, and I just painted all of the gemstones, all those blood gems that Blood Angels are renowned to have, those rubies across their armor panels. Now, he has a big eye, a big rubied teardrop thing on his right shoulder pad that I just can't figure out what to do with just yet. In the end, I did just throw a coat of Blood Angels Red Contrast over the top of it and gave it a quick layer like the armor. Not massively impressed with how that turned out. I will have to revisit that and decide on something else. Some sort of crazy big gemstone or something. I don't really know. The Dreadnought is really starting to come together now. We're going to jump up now and we're going to start highlighting all that gold. So we grab Liberator Gold and we highlight up all the sections of the model that are gold. Now, the Lead Belcher dry brush will have actually helped start this process off and will have looked really nice as a quick dry brush. But this is Blood Angels. Blood Angels are warriors and artificers. They are artists. Like, they slave over their equipment, their weapon, their armor. So this Dreadnought will literally be a work of art to them. So there's no half-assness. There's just literal perfection. So I wanted to make it sure it looked pristine, like the best materials and the best smiths had labored away to make this thing look as awesome as possible. So that's why I went in with the brush and gave it a brush layer with the Liberator Gold to make those sections pop a little bit more. And there's quite a lot of sections to make pop, just to tell you. There's a lot of gold in this boy. I suppose as there should be. On to dry brushing the plasma coils with a pure white. This is where I actually did grab a pure white, the Pro Acryl White, and just gave it a nice light dry brush across those coils. And obviously I can overspill the area as well, just to give it a bit of a glow effect. And then I just threw Warpstone Glow into that to give it the green plasma effect. Obviously you can substitute this with whatever plasma color you want. Same thing, dry brush it with white, then choose a nice bright colored contrast paint and paint it in, whether you want it to be yellow or red or blue or green or whatever else you want. It's a very easy thing to do and you get a really nice result with very little effort. After that, it was time to, of course, glue all of these parts into place because this bad boy is finished. And my God, what a result. Like I said, you can do a normal Blood Angels Red Redemptor Dreadnought, but it's just a big red box on wings. I don't think it represents what a Blood Angel is as much as something like this is. Like I said, they are artisans. They are just glorious smiths of war. And I think all their equipment and stuff should definitely reflect that. I'm so pleased with the final result of this. I'm glad to have this on the shelf. I don't actually have a Blood Angels army. I have a Flesh Tearers army. This guy will get put on my Flesh Tearers shelf, but I don't know what I'll do with him after that. I'll have to figure that out. Started Devastation of Baal army, I think is what I talked about in a previous video. Some couple of still images to give you an idea of what he might look like on the tabletop. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget to check out both my Patreon channel membership and of course the Grey Tide Studio Kickstarter, all linked down below in the description. Yeah, what else can I say? Hopefully you enjoyed it. Okay guys, and there we have it. Our finished Crimson Lord Redemptor Dreadnought is finished. Hopefully you guys had a lot of fun seeing me get this thing painted up. Nice, easy tabletop standard, very easy to achieve for all level of hobbyists out there. Hopefully you liked the parts from Grey Tide Studio. They actually very kindly sent me out quite a large selection of bits and pieces from this Kickstarter. So if you guys are curious and want to see some more bits and pieces from this set done up, me using more of the components, do let me know in the comments below. I'm always happy to paint up some more Blood Angels goodness. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, ask me any questions you want in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it means the world to us creators. If you want to help support the channel even further and help us grow to larger and better heights, check out the Patreon linked down below. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.